So
All
housing
right.
team, take it away.
I will start us off. Hi, I am Malik Ismail, the Director of Housing and Residential Education. I'm just going to do a quick intro of the rest of our housing staff, and then I'll turn things over to Ali Serrano, who's our Associate Director of Residential Education. So Jeremy Williamson is the other person that is here in our meeting today. He is our Director of Facilities and Operations. And his staff has been the folks that you've been in communication with throughout the licensing process. And so our partners in operations are the ones that manage our licensing process, have been sending all the information out regarding move-in. And so you may have been in communication with one of our licensing coordinators or our assistant director of
marketing and licensing.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if that got cut off on the presentation, but that's Yasmin Tarab, who is new in our department this year, and this will be her first move-in. And then the other folks that you will meet after you move in are a majority of our live-on staff. We do have 4 resident directors that live on campus. You will see them on move-in day. We also have 28 resident advisors. Those are the student staff that will live on the floor with your student and be that first point of contact for your student if they have any questions, concerns. They'll also be the one kind of facilitating like roommate agreements and whatnot as your student moves in and gets settled. We also have 4 residential peer mentors that are also student staff that do provide programs and activities throughout the academic year to help your student with their academic success at the university. With that, I'm going to turn things over to Ali Serrano, who again is our Associate Director of Residential Education, and she will cover the next couple of slides.
All right. Hi, everyone. Well, first of all, I have to say I am absolutely thrilled to be chatting with you all today and really excited for this coming week and the months to come and really getting to know your students and being able to build community and really our best attempt at a fabulous, vibrant college experience for everyone. So I want to go over some housing policies and procedures. I'm sure a lot of these things are different topics that your family has been thinking about. So hopefully we can answer some of your questions now. One thing that I do want to mention is that just as a kind of a general statement, all members of the UVA and the Quad communities have a responsibility to uphold the CSUSM housing policies, the CSUSM student code of conduct, and then local federal laws and regulations. By signing their license agreement, all residents have agreed to follow these policies. And so it's important that they are looking through those things again, making sure that they are up to date and making sure that they know what being a member in good standing looks like. These rules and responsibilities are truly crucial to the safety and well-being of all of our residents. We tell everyone to not only look out for themselves, but to look out for the community as well. And that's what it means to be a part of a community. And so we want to create an environment that is conducive to both academic, but also personal comfort and success. And so that's why we want to highlight some of these COVID specific guidelines, as well as just our general policies. If at any time a resident has a question or a concern about these policies, we want them to make sure that they're reaching out immediately to their resident advisor or resident director so that we can ensure that we're all on the same page and that we know what is needed for us to have a safe and successful environment. I know that this is something that you all talked about during orientation, but I do want to highlight again that due to FERPA, we may not always be able to disclose student conduct, student concern information without a FERPA waiver. I'm hoping that this is kind of a repeat of stuff that you all have already discussed during orientation, but our philosophy is that we don't want to just leave anyone hanging. So if you do have questions that we are not able to answer, we will do our best to direct you in a direction where you may be able to get a little bit more information. And then, of course, if you as families and support systems ever have concerns about your student safety or well-being, we encourage you to contact our CSUSM University Police Department, and they can be reached at the number there. And of course, they have a different level of disclosure that they're able to provide. So always a good point of contact if there is an emergency or a student concern. All right. So getting into the nuts and bolts of COVID-19, I'm sure everyone has probably heard a lot of this information as well, but it's really important that we highlight it and make sure that there's no confusion or guessing happening. So as I'm sure you all are well aware, COVID-19 vaccinations are required in order to live on campus this year. So the deadline to submit the vaccination or exemptions was August 16th. So that was last week. So hopefully everyone has submitted that information. And then residents who have an approved exemption will be required to test weekly for COVID-19. We do have testing sites available on campus. We try to make it as seamless as we can. And so that is something that I would encourage you all to mark on the calendars if you have not been vaccinated, so that you are able to keep up with that, because we only have so much capacity to provide the friendly warning, and so we want to make sure that everyone's staying on top of it. The next thing is that face coverings are going to be required in all public spaces of the community. And this is our best effort to follow current county and CSU guidelines. As these things change, we will be telling you all first, believe me, but we really want to make sure that we're looking out for the well-being of our community and mitigating any risk of exposure. Again, these policies are going to be strictly upheld, and so clear disregard for these different regulations and guidance could result in termination of a license agreement. So that's why we're really highlighting this information again. And then probably the biggest and most important thing for you all to recognize about our current policies is that at the moment, no outside guests will be allowed in the community. And this does include family members and current CSUSM students who are not residents. Our hope is that we will be able to reevaluate this policy as we get a little bit, more into the school year. But at this time, aside from move-in, we will not be allowing family members into the community. All right, I think I'm passing it on to my dear colleague, Jeremy, to talk about move-in, which is like, what, 3 days from now? It's wild.
Yeah. Thank you, Allie. And once again, like Allie mentioned, we are excited to have you all move in. So we look forward to that. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the move-in process. Again, my name is Jeremy Williamson. I am the Director of Housing Operations and Facilities. And so the first thing we want to reiterate here is to just please move in during your scheduled time frame. UVA move-in day is this Friday, August 27th. And so if you are licensed to live at the UVA, your move-in day is Friday, August 27th. If you're licensed to move in at the Quad, the official move-in day is August 28th. We did send out the schedule for arrival times. And so please arrive on the date that you selected if you did an early move in, but also on the time that we sent in that email. That was sent this past weekend. So if you have not received that yet, please reach out to us at our housing inbox. And so those times have been sent. We're asking that everyone come in during your scheduled time frame. That's going to help us with the traffic. It's going to help us make sure that we have enough staff to handle the folks coming in at those times. And so please don't come up early. If for whatever reason you're going to be late, just give us a call and we'll adjust for that. But please come during the time that was sent to you. And if you did not get a time, just reach out to our inbox and we will follow up with you. And I believe, thank you, Jessica, for putting the inbox email in the chat. So if you are an early arrival, come on the date that you selected. Please come in by 4:30 p.m. This way, the office will be open and we can let you in. And so if you're not coming in on the 27th or the 28th because you have an early arrival time, just make sure that you come between those business hours. The office is open from 8 to 5. But we're asking that you come between 9 and 4:30. I believe times were sent out for those as well. Each resident will be allowed to have 2 assistants to help them move in. That could be 2 friends, 2 parent, guardian, sibling, whoever you think is best fit to do that. We're asking that you limit it to those 2 assistants to help unload and get settled. In the past, we have had entire families come out, which is awesome, but given the pandemic, we are asking that you limit that just so that we don't have a ton of people in the space at once. Just remember that we have over 1,500 people moving in on this weekend, and so we're really doing our best to try to mitigate any chances for an outbreak. And so please limit your guests to just 2 people. Residents will be required to be vaccinated. Again, we want to reiterate that part, or you must have an approved exemption. And those that are exempted will need to test weekly throughout their stay here, and failure to test weekly will result in a student conduct referral. And so to avoid that, please encourage your student to continue to get tested if they've been exempted. But other than that, if you're vaccinated, you won't need to go take a test every week. A COVID-19 test with a negative result does need to be taken within 72 hours of your move-in date. And so we know that some of those folks that are coming in early just got that notice last week. We apologize for that, but that was an update. And so we are asking that folks that are not vaccinated to bring that negative test result or submit that negative test result, excuse me. And if you've not received that email, please reach out to us in that inbox and we'll follow up with you to send you that link. But again, a COVID-19 negative test result taken within up to 72 hours of your move-in date will be required of all unvaccinated students and their moving assistants. We are highly encouraging that same thing for vaccinated students and their assistants, but that is not required. You will be allowed to unload in parking lot O, and I'll show you some maps here in a few minutes. That's adjacent to the UVA, so anyone moving into UVA, you can park in parking lot O, and I'm referring to this weekend. And then in parking lot adjacent to the quad, which is behind a church structure, is where you would park for the quad move-in day. If you're moving in earlier, just know that you will need to find parking on the street or in lot O, but you'll be required to purchase a pass. If you don't mind, go right back to the previous slide, just a second. Yeah, right there. So you'll be allowed to unload in parking lot O adjacent to the UVA or parking lot adjacent to the quad in your return trips. So let's say you unload and then you settled and you realize you need to go get something from the store. If you return, we're asking that you park in parking structure 1 at the UVA or parking structure 2 for the quad. Again, I'll show you those in those maps that are coming up in just a second. Assistants will be allowed to remain in the community for up to 2 hours. So you've got plenty of time to unload, get settled, help your child do what they need to do in terms of getting unpacked and settled. Face coverings are required as you move into the community, and our staff have been made aware to just remind people, a friendly reminder to put the face mask on as you come to and from your apartment into any of the common areas. We will provide moving carts on site for checkout. Given the amount of people moving in, if you do have your own dolly or cart, we recommend you bring that just in case we run out, but normally we don't, but just a precaution there. And then we are going to continue to sanitize the high touch areas pretty regularly. So if you see our staff going around spraying the doors or the elevators, it's not because there's an outbreak, it's really because we're just trying to make sure that these spaces stay sanitized. All right, next slide. So here are the move-in locations. This is a map of University Village Apartments on the lower half of the map, and then the quad on the upper half. And so there's lot O, like I had just mentioned. So if you're moving into UVA, lot O is where you want to park to unload. And then if you're going to the quad, there is the Summit Church right next door. There's a parking lot. Thank you for moving that cursor around right there. If we get into the next slide, we'll get a little bit more specific. All right, and so University Village Apartments, you're going to pull into lot O to unload. And I think if you push the space bar, there's where your car is gonna go. That's you in that blue car. And then you're gonna pick up your keys right there in that same parking lot. And that's how you check in. We're gonna have some staff there that'll tell you which building that you go to, so you don't worry. So you're gonna pull in there, you're gonna unload in lot O, get your keys, and then you're gonna move your car over into parking structure 1, which is right across the street. You'll park there. You can park there overnight if you need to. Then you're gonna walk right over. You get up to 2 hours to help your student unload and do what you need to do. And then if you need to make another trip, you can continue to park in parking structure 1. And this is for anyone moving into University Village Apartments on the 27th. All right. The next slide is the quad. So again, you're gonna park right there behind the Summit Church. You'll come in off North City Drive. Then you're gonna pick your key up right in that back parking lot off of Riddell Road right there. And that is how you check in at the quad. If you're coming in on the 28th, you'll pull up through North City Drive, park in that back lot, pick your keys up in that back lot. We'll show you where to go. And then if you need to, after you get done unloading, you'll come out of Riddell Road, go down East Barham Drive, and go to parking structure 2, which is right across the street. There's the extended learning building right in between us. Don't worry, it's not as far as it seems. You can park there. There is no overnight parking. So let me warn you, when you move your car for overnight parking, you want to go back up to lot O or to parking structure 1. But for the move-in process to unload, you can park in that back lot, then you'll park for the day in parking structure 2. All right, so that is the move-in process. I know it might seem a little bit too simple, but that's as easy as it needs to be, folks. There will be traffic, I'll tell you that much, but we will do our best to make sure that you have a positive experience during this move-in process. And so we'll get to all of the questions. I'm sure you have plenty at the end, but now I'm going to pass it off to my colleague Janelle to talk to you about dining.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thrilled to be here with you all tonight as you prepare your student for move-in. So tonight, what I'm going to talk to you a little bit is about dining and the dining options that we have on campus. So what we have on campus is in our student union on the West Pavilion, we have 4 food options, 4 concepts. So we have Wow Cafe, which is like wings, burgers, wraps. We have your traditional Panda Express that you would see within the community. We have Caliente, which serves tacos, burritos, asada fries, fresh. And this new concept, brand new on campus, actually serves build your own salads, quinoa bowls, rice bowls, wraps, sandwiches, and it also has smoothies as well. So we're thrilled to bring that onto our campus. In the East Pavilion of the Student Union, we have Crash's Cafe, which proudly serves Starbucks beverages. So if you don't want to wait in the line at Starbucks for that Frappuccino that you love, you can always go to Crash's Cafe and they can make that same one for you. And then we also have the Market, which is also available, and it's your basic convenience store that has all the information or all the fixings that you would want for a meal. And then in addition to that, we do have a Starbucks on campus in the library. It's on the corner of the library, and so it's a great location to get those beverages that all of our students love. And then we also have the campus coffee cart, and that's an independently owned coffee cart in Founders Plaza, and they source local sandwiches and sides, as well as all their own coffees. So those are the what's great about the campus app is that we have been able to really incorporate the campus app into what we have available for dining. So screenshots of what the app looks like. So if you go to on campus, you can click the little fork and knife dining tab, and it'll take you to the dining hours. So the top 2 things you see there, the coffee cart and Starbucks, those are actually live stream cameras that we have ongoing outside of the location. So you can actually see how long the line is at both of those locations. So it's great to have that on there. And then you'll see under there, it does say diners. It does say on this version that the eateries are closed. However, I can tell you that all of them are now open. This screenshot was taken a few months ago. But all of them are open and available for everybody that is interested. And then in addition to that, we also have the location of all of our vending machines on campus as well. So if you don't have time to go to the student union to grab a snack, you can find one of our vending machines throughout campus in the app. We have a great partnership with First Class Vending, who is our vending provider, to offer students kind of those traditional snacks that they want to see in vending machines, but also healthy options as well. Next slide. So here is the meal plan options that we have at Cal State San Marcos. So as you may know, we do not have a traditional all you care to eat dining facility with a meal plan that has meal swipes that you might see on some other campuses. What we have to offer our students here is a declining balance card. So if you already purchased a declining balance card, by Monday, the 16th, those declining balance cards will be in your students' move-in packet when they come to move in. I will be at move-in. If you happen to not be able to find it, you can come find me and I'll be able to help you out and sort out how to get that card. So, but those cards should be in each student's packet if they were purchased by the 16th. So if you purchased it after the 16th, you can go to the market during their open hours and you will be able to purchase the card there. So the declining balance card, it works much like a gift card in that they can use them at all the eateries on campus except for the campus coffee cart. That is the only location that those cards are not accepted, or the vending machines, excuse me. So they can use the cards all those locations. The added benefit is if the card ever gets lost or stolen, we can easily transfer the balance of that card over to a new card for your student. So if the card is lost or stolen, have your student tell dining services immediately. We can shut that card off and then transfer. Other things wanted to add here, one links to meal plan FAQ. So if you're wondering, I want to purchase a card, but I don't quite know how much to put on it, what would you recommend? We do have some information on our FAQs related to how much your student is planning to eat on campus throughout the week. So we recognize everybody has different eating habits. Everybody has different class schedules that are going to impact those eating habits. And so there is some good information on there as well. And then again, all dining cards are available for pickup at the market. They can be purchased throughout the year. The money that goes on these dining cards, it does not expire. So your student can have the same dining card with them throughout their entire academic career at CSUSM, and money can continually be loaded onto the card throughout the semester or as needed. One other thing that I want to let all of our parents and students know that we do have a great option this year as we partner with Grubhub, and our Grubhub does take the dining cards. So students can order through Grubhub on the Grubhub app and go to that location on campus, pick up their food, and they can use the dining card through the Grubhub app. So again, sorry that was so fast. There's a lot of information I need to load in there, but I'm available if you have questions, and I will put my email in the chat.
Thanks, Janelle. We're going to go ahead and transition over to the fabulous Jenny Ruiz to talk a little bit more about Dean of Students and the Career Care Network.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is having a good night or whatever time it is where you are. I am Associate Dean of Students at Cal State San Marcos. I'm starting my 15th academic year, which is just wild. next week. And there's no better place than CSUSM. I love it. It really is a home away from home, and your students have made a fabulous choice in their educational institution. So I'm going to be talking to you all a little bit about some of the areas in my office that are really kind of the most, I would say, the most important kind of good to knows right now to help students navigate some possible challenges over the next few weeks or as they're making their way through the first semester at Cal State San Marcos. So in the Dean of Students office, we really focus on care, advocacy, support, and accountability. So kind of that whole person, that whole student, we want them to be able to succeed in the classroom, but also know that they are whole people outside the classroom. And so we know that things come up that may impact their ability to be successful academically, and that's really what our office is there for. So we're really kind of seen as a hub for the campus. We're kind of a first stop shop. So if you take anything away from my next 3 slides, if you don't know where to start, if your student does not know where to start, you can go ahead and start with our office, and we can assess what the needs are and get you or them to the appropriate place. So Cougar Care Network is one of our benchmark initiatives in our office, and I would say on campus. It's our early support initiative, which really helps students through early alert referrals from faculty and staff and just themselves or any members of the community to allow us to kind of have a safety net to connect students to support as early as possible. So it kind of takes out that need for a student to just say, I need help. Typically what happens is that a student will reach out to their faculty member and say, something happened, I have to miss class tomorrow, I'm having X, Y, and Z challenge. And then the faculty members here on campus are really in tune to what support's available to students and can send a referral through to ensure that not only are they getting the support in the classroom from them, but they're also getting resources that may address their specific needs. Other things that may come up that may warrant a referral is particularly for first year students, and our first year student instructors, I think are really in tune to this as well, is really noticing changes in pattern of a student's performance, attendance, kind of level of engagement in class. So we have the benefit of having some relatively smaller kind of class sizes and ratio with faculties and students. So students can really get to know their faculty and vice versa. So a lot of faculty will refer if a student has just suddenly stopped attending after being consistent with attendance for the semester, if they suddenly are just not connecting the content and the curriculum, or they stop turning in things. There's just a change in their baseline kind of behavior in the class. That usually is an indication that something outside the classroom is going on, that they need some level of support. And so CCN really is kind of that funnel to allow faculty to make those referrals. And we will then outreach to the students, whether it's from our case management staff or connecting them with specific resources and support across campus that will address their individual needs. The next one. Okay, so another fun area I oversee is student conduct and ethical development. So we kind of do the care side, but also the accountability and responsibility side. So as Ali mentioned earlier in the presentation, we really expect all students to review, follow, know all the policies, not only within housing, but Cal State San Marcos. So students who are living in housing are not only accountable to the CSU standards for student conduct, but they're also accountable to the policies within the resident handbook. So it's kind of twofold there. So there are students who don't live in housing who are just then accountable to the standards for student conduct that may impact their student status, but is that much more important for your students who are living in housing to understand that there are various levels of policies that they are expected to adhere to. The reason for these policies is to ensure that our campus is safe and healthy with academic integrity and all those things. So I want to highlight kind of a few things that I just really want to stress to you all about the importance of really compliance over the next, I would say, couple of weeks, because I think we'll kind of get into a groove, but I think it's going to be really important and a community-wide responsibility to ensure that our campus can stay as safe and healthy as possible. So we really are asking for the entire community. That means your students, that means you during move-in. It means you really encouraging your students to comply with our policies. So we understand there's a range of thoughts and opinions on various mitigation efforts around COVID-19 compliance that we are hoping can prevent members of our community from contracting COVID or their loved ones. There's a number of folks. I have a young kiddo at home. We have people who are coming back home who may not be as protected as others. So with that, our university is required to follow statewide, local guidance, as well as the CSU, since we're part of the larger system. So as of today, what our current policies are, and I think Dr. Chun may be going over this more in detail, is around mask wearing. So anytime you're inside, there's some other kind of levels and layers within housing, but we really ask our students to follow those policies and make sure that they fully understand what the guidelines and expectations are, as well as the vaccination requirement, as well as the testing requirement if the student does have an approved exemption, which again, Dr. Chun will go over. It is imperative that we have our entire community's buy-in and follow through and compliance in this to really make sure that our campus stays as safe as possible. We came out relatively unscathed last year. We had a really low number of cases. So, and the campus has done a tremendous job in trying to be proactive, but it's really going to be up to our community members as they begin to populate the campus over the next few weeks to ensure that this happens. Students who choose to not comply because they are getting ample information and guidance about what our policies are will be subject to student conduct. We don't want to do that. However, we need to hold folks accountable because it's an impact of the safety of the entire community. And that may result in a student's license being terminated. It may result in a student being removed from the campus. All things that we don't want to do because we want our students to graduate from Cal State San Marcos. So we'll move on from that fun slide, but thank you for listening to my talk. The last few things I want to really share are just some lessons that we've learned over the last year. Some of these things really they're relevant even before kind of the uniqueness of the last year, but we really want to stress that students are checking their email, checking their MyCSUSM, checking all of those modes of communication frequently so they can be have the most up-to-date information because they are accountable to it. Really review their syllabi in detail that they get from their faculty, communicate with their faculty, really just read through, review, look at all of kind of the documents that the campus has sent because we find that it's very, very important. And again, they are accountable to that. For involvement's sake, I think it's really important for students to follow social media accounts that are through CSUSM to be on top of kind of events and involvement opportunities. And really lastly, just to not just drop off. Please encourage your student that if they are struggling with anything to reach out, whether it's to our office, to their resident advisor, or anyone. We don't want them just to kind of drop away because we want to make sure that they're getting the support and know what their options are. Because if they just kind of walk away, there could be a variety of unfortunate outcomes like financial impacts and their grades and whatnot. Lastly, here are just some things that we encourage you all to do. Really, you see a lot of empower, encourage. We want you to really review the license agreements and policies and the student code of conduct so you're also aware, and really encourage them to connect with folks because the resources are available to them. And that's what they're there to do, is to help them. And reminding them, and that we know folks have not really been together in a physical space in a long time. And so just coming in with being as open as possible and really having open communication with their roommates. I cannot stress enough the importance of doing the roommate contract. It may not seem like a big deal at the time because everyone's getting along, the roommate contract is necessary. And I'm sure Ally is in heavy agreement with this. So I am here. We are here to support. If you have any questions, you don't kind of know where to go, contact us and we will get you to the right place. And we're happy to have you join our community.
Great, thanks, Jenny. And we're going to shift over to Dr. Chun to talk a little bit more about student health and counseling services.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. James Chun, serve as the Interim Medical Director of Student Health and Counseling Services. I've been part of the Cougar community for going on 4 years now. Prior to that, I had an almost three-decade career in the United States Navy as a physician, and then came to Cal State San Marcos in December of 2017. Just to give you a brief overview of Student Health and Counseling Services, we're located in that sleek-looking building, located conveniently between Parking Structure 1 and the University Student Union building. So your students probably pass by this building every single day when they come from housing up to the main campus, or if they go from the parking garage to the Student Union, they go right underneath the building. We're open Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:45. We're closed for 1 hour at lunchtime, typically from 12 to 1 o'clock, although on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're open from 12 to 1 to accommodate students when they don't have classes during U hour. And that's something that you'll learn more, your student will learn more about when they come to campus. So at Student Health and Counseling Services, we have appointments for acute care, minor procedures. We provide reproductive health services. We have a lab. We have a pharmacy where prescription medications can be dispensed if your student can't make it to a commercial pharmacy. And we also have an inventory of certain immunizations that we can provide for students who need those. We are staffed with 2 primary care physicians, myself included. We have a staff psychiatrist who's here with us 4 days a week. And we also have 2 female nurse practitioners who provide most of the female reproductive health services for our students. Downstairs, we have our counseling staff, primarily our licensed clinical psychologists, along with their interns in training, who provide the mental health services that your students may require while they're at Cal State San Marcos. Also embedded as part of our staff are our health educators and their student interns. And these are probably the most visible ambassadors of student health and counseling services that your students will encounter when they're out and about on campus. Our health educators and their interns are always out and about, kind of sharing all the wonderful things that we do at Student Health. Additionally, we have our sexual violence advocates as part of our staff. We have 2 advocates and educators. So if your student happens to require their services, they would come to Student Health and Counseling Services to meet with our advocates. Probably most importantly these days is we coordinate the COVID-19 testing for students. So we have a testing site. The one that's closest to housing is in the Clark Fieldhouse in the athletic complex, right across the street from UVA and on the way to campus from the quad. And that's the site that most of your students will be using. So for those students that have an approved medical or religious exemption from the vaccine, will be required to participate in the weekly testing program. And so the best advice is to have your students select a day of the week, Monday through Friday, and just test on that day every single week. So if Wednesday happens to be the most convenient day, swing by the testing facility on Wednesday morning, get their test done, and they'll have their results back later that evening, typically around midnight or so. San Diego County Health also has a separate testing site that's on campus, and that's located in Lot B, which is one of our parking lots on the west side of campus. So this is run by the county, not by the university. And this is open to the general public. And it's primarily for those individuals in the county who perhaps may have some concerns because they have symptoms, or they may have been exposed with someone who had tested positive for COVID. So if your student actually starts feeling ill, or they've had a positive exposure to COVID, they would be utilizing the San Diego County testing facility on Lot B as opposed to the one in Clark Fieldhouse. So we're trying to maintain some sense of, or we try not to sort of contaminate our university spaces. If any individuals are sick, they should go to the county site, which is an outdoor facility under some tents, which is much better ventilated. We also provide direction to the campus on health and safety protocols based on guidance from the CDC, California Department of Public Health, and San Diego County Public Health guidance, as well as direction from the CSU Chancellor's Office. So, that's kind of a brief overview of student health and counseling services. I will answer some questions, at the end. A couple of things I did want to bring up. So, campus-wide health and safety guidelines: a properly worn facial covering when outside the apartment, inside the campus building, in any public space. So properly worn means snugly fitting over the nose and mouth. So you've probably seen people that wear their mask where their nose is exposed or their mouth is partially exposed. That's not appropriate. Properly worn means covering those two areas with a mask that fits snugly over the face. A good hand washing is always recommended, regardless of whether we're in a pandemic or not, as well as cough and sneeze hygiene. And even though officially social distancing has gone away, it really hasn't. We're in a time when the Delta variant has predominated throughout most communities. And one of the ways to mitigate the risk of the Delta variant, obviously, is to get vaccinated, but also to maintain a properly worn facial covering and keeping some distance, and obviously avoiding large gatherings where people can't maintain that safe distancing from each other. And of course, if your student starts feeling ill, they should stay away from others, contact student health, and not go to class. And would probably be advised to get tested at the county testing facility at Lot B on the west side of our campus. A few questions that typically come up, and I'm going to reiterate what's already been said. There is a vaccine requirement for all the CSU campuses that was set forth several months ago by the Chancellor's Office, which oversees all 23 CSU campuses. So that is a requirement. And as you know, at least one of the vaccines, the one from Pfizer, has been fully FDA approved as of this week. And we expect the Moderna vaccine to be fully approved sometime next month. Should students at housing submit their vaccine information? Absolutely. The deadline was August 16th, but can they submit it now? A little late? Absolutely. And so the link was placed a couple links or chats up where the students can submit their immunization information. So if they have their completed COVID shot card, they can submit it through that link. If they are requesting a religious or medical exemption, they also submit it through that link as well. A medical exemption request must be accompanied by a signed medical statement from a licensed qualified medical provider. So that's an MD, DO, nurse practitioner, physician assistant. That does not include a massage therapist, dentist, podiatrist, chiropractor. Those individuals are not trained or qualified to opine on medical exemptions on vaccines. So a physician, nurse practitioner, or physician's assistant would be sufficient. And it must be signed, and it must include your student's name and other identifying information like a date of birth. And then as far as the testing site, as I mentioned, is open at Clark Fieldhouse Monday through Friday. And it'll be open on expanded hours on certain days to accommodate those students that have late classes, and for those employees that also start their work shift a little bit later. And so I'll hold off on kind of pre-answering a number of questions until our Q&A session at the very end. I'll just put in a link for any of you and any of your students who may not have received their COVID vaccine yet. It's never been easier to schedule a COVID-19 vaccine appointment. I put the link up at vaccines.gov, and you can find a vaccination site near you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Chun. We're going to transition over to University Police with Officer Sanchez.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leo Sanchez. I'm one of the police officers at Cal State San Marcos. I'm going to give you a brief overview of UPD, the University Police Department. So we're available 24 hours a day, 365, holidays, every day of the year. There's always going to be officers, sergeants, and a dispatcher on duty. On the next slide, you'll have all our phone numbers and contact information. If we could just go back to the other slide, please. The prior one. There we go. Thank you. So really quick, brief overview. We're responsible for patrolling the campus. That's our main priority. we also patrol 1 mile outside of the campus as well. So that's the Ralph Shopping Center, which is across the street from the campus, which most of the students will be doing their shopping, and also a couple restaurants there as well. And just like any other municipal agency or sheriff's department, we offer the same services. We give citations, traffic collision reports, we do arrests if we need to, all the same thing as any other police agency. A lot of our officers are ex-deputy sheriffs or ex-municipal agencies, so we have a array of experience. Another aspect that UPD does is safety escort. So say your student gets out of class at 10 o'clock at night, they would like a ride or walk to their apartment, car, we can do that. Just they can dial the non-emergency number, which is on the next slide, and an officer will meet them at their location and provide them a ride. And again, I mentioned about the traffic accidents. Our lost and found is at the UPD station. So I like to give out a quick pointer that if you have any big ticket items, laptops, cell phones, always write down the serial number. So in case it does get stolen and it's found in Los Angeles, Sacramento, it'll get back to the student. Our PACE program is a community outreach program that we have. Currently not in session right now due to COVID, but we are looking at starting it back up soon. Our last topic that I usually like to talk about is the Community Service Officer program. It's the CSO program. Those are student workers. They're students of CSUSM, and they're kind of our eyes and ears. They're employed by the University Police Department. So they're eyes and ears. You'll see them out there. They wear the gray shirts. And if we can go to the next slide, please. And again, here's our information. Our address, we're located on the far east side of campus. Our non-emergency number is at 760-750-4567. And of course, if there is an emergency, please dial 911, and that'll get routed to our dispatch, which is available 24 hours a day. And we have a very quick response time from where our station is to the furthest point of campus. It'll literally take us anywhere from 30 seconds to respond. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand or put in the chat. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Officer Sanchez. We're going to hold off on questions until the end. We got two more presenters here, and then we'll jump over to our Q&A portion. So next up, we have Kelly Steele, who's going to talk a little bit more about parking and commuter services.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly Steele. I'm the outreach and events coordinator for parking and commuter services. Parking is 100% self-support. So we do not receive any state support or any general funds. All of our revenue is generated from our user fees. So from our permit sales, that helps to maintain the parking lots, to build new parking structures, as well as just maintain all of that. So as you guys do see the prices of the permits, that's the reason why our prices are the way they are. You can go to the next slide. So all of our permits on campus are virtual permits. So what that means is when you purchase your permit, you will be entering in your vehicle information. Your license plate will act as your permit. So we have what we call LPR vehicles, which are the license plate recognition vehicles. They do drive through the parking lots. They will scan the license plates and verify that there is a paid parking session, as well as that the vehicle is parked in the correct parking lots. So once again, all of our permits are virtual, so you will not receive a physical permit. So we have different options of where you can buy the permits. If you are coming for just a day or a couple of hours, we have the pay stations located at a couple of various lots, as well as mobile payment. I always recommend downloading the CSUSM mobile app. That is the easiest way to access your parking account, as well as to purchase those daily and hourly permits. The parking account is where you will go to purchase your semester permits. And that can be accessed through the CSUSM mobile app, as well as our website. Next one. Here's a quick map of all of our parking lots. For the housing students, they will be eligible for the monthly permit, which is $80. The semester is $338. And then the academic year, which covers both the fall and the spring, that one is $643. All 3 of those parking permits are valid in all of those parking lots that are circled in the black, so all of our general lots. And it does allow for overnight parking. Just a quick note that parking structure 2 does not have overnight parking. So parking structure 2, which is right behind the extended learning building and across from the quad, it is closed from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. So this quad housing students will be required to park on campus. We always recommend parking structure 1 or parking lot O. Parking lot O tends to get full with the UVA parking, and it is full most of the time. So the parking structure has plenty of parking, as well as parking lot N and lot K. And on this map, it looks like they're really far away. It's not to scale, so it's not that far of a walk. Okay, the next slide. And then if you ever get one of those nasty green envelopes on your car, there's just a couple of tips on those. On the back of the parking tickets, there is the instructions on how to pay it, how to appeal it. There's our phone number on how you can contact us. You do have 21 days from the date of the ticket to be able to submit your appeal or to pay your ticket. If after those 21 days, you will receive a decision letter if you do decide to appeal it. And if it does come back that it's still upheld, then you will have 21 more days to pay that before the late fee goes into effect. We do follow the CVC, so the California Vehicle Code. So we are very strict with our dates. We have no wiggle room with them. Our dates are the dates that we have to follow. And then you always want to make sure that if you do get a ticket, that you do address it by either paying it or appealing it. If it goes with no action at all, it can result in a CSUSM hold, which would not allow your student to register for classes the next semester, and or a DMV hold, which means you would not be able to register your vehicle until that ticket is paid. So definitely, if you get one of those tickets, make sure you take the time to read the back of it and follow the instructions on it. And then we also have some commuter programs available. We have our bike programs. We have free bicycle registration. You can bring your bikes into our office and we can register it. So in case something happens to the bike, if it gets lost, it will be in the system. So if it is found anywhere in California, or the serial number will help track it back to us. We have bike lockers available as well as bike racks. And we also have transit passes. So we have the Sprinter, which is located right above the University Police Building, which is on the corner of La Mirée and Barham. We sell monthly transit passes as well as semester transit passes. The transit passes that we sell are valid on the Sprinter and the Breeze, and then as well as the MTS buses. So it does take you down to San Diego. It works on the trolley. It does not work on the coaster, however. For the month of September, we do have North County Transit will be handing out free passes for the month of September. We will be in U Hour on that first U Hour on the 21st, the 31st. We will be in front of Kellogg Library up in Kellogg Plaza with North County Transit. They're handing out passes. So if your student is on campus on that Tuesday, so August 31st, make sure you have them stop by the North County Transit and the parking tables there so they can grab one of those free transit passes for the month of September. Okay, next slide. And then we are located in the University Police Building. We are located at the corner of La Mirée and Barham, or Campus View Drive and La Mirée. Our hours are 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. Follow us on social media. We do a lot of posting when there's lot maintenance that's going on. If there's any parking lots that are going to be impacted, we make sure that we put that out on social media so your student will know what areas they can park in and cannot. And then if you guys have any other questions, you can call us or you can give us an email then. Shoot us an email at parking@CSUSM. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly. And quickly, I just want to share about our family programs. Hopefully at this point you've heard about family programs, and obviously you're here joining in on one of our fabulous family programs, but it takes an entire support system for our students to succeed and get to that commencement stage. And we really hope that you continue your journey and staying engaged and informed with us. Our family programs offer opportunities for families to stay informed through communication. You can join us even tomorrow evening through our family webinar series. Tomorrow kicks off the first of our monthly series with academic preparedness and helping students and families understand and navigate academics at Cal State San Marcos. New student family convocation will be this coming weekend, so we hope you stick around after move-in. On that website for convocation, there are opportunities for hotel discounts if you are staying in the area and want to utilize CSUSM's Friends and Family discount. You can just mention CSUSM at any of those hotels listed and utilize that. Family Weekend will be October 1st through 3rd. We'll be launching the RSVP and sign up for that at the beginning of next week. So that's real exciting for folks to start signing up and joining us October 1st through 3rd. Our monthly newsletters will kick off in September with lots of timely information to keep you up to date on what's going on campus and spotlight some fun things that are going on campus as well. As always, which many of you utilize, I see a lot of familiar names with our family's emails. Feel free to reach out when you have questions or need support in navigating systems across Cal State San Marcos. New student family convocation, like I mentioned, is this Sunday. It will be at 6:30 p.m. It's a special ceremony to really kick off the academic year with our students and families, and a special challenge coin ceremony will be available to our students and families in attendance. You can also live stream the session, but a challenge coin will not be provided to those live streaming it. Live stream will be available on our website, and you can RSVP for the event up through Thursday to join us for that event. Our virtual family handbook, we can drop these links in the chat as well. But if you haven't had a chance to reference our handbooks, they are a great interactive resource to navigate campus services and resources and get familiar with what's offered in students at students' fingertips in being able to get support in their journey through Cal State San Marcos. The Back to School series has been launched through this summer and will continue in the academic year for students to join us in learning more about Cal State San Marcos and navigating support as they kind of continue into their journey at Cal State San Marcos. Our theme for August has been academic preparedness. We have a few more sessions this week to continue in that academic preparedness theme. We'll transition to involvement and engagement in September, additional academic support more focused on midterms in October, and then November and December focusing on health and wellness again. Weeks of Welcome is a great experience for CSUSM students, and we highly encourage them to kick off their journey in Weeks of Welcome with Miyu, which Miyu means hello in the Liseño language, and is truly our hello and our kickoff to Weeks of Welcome. That will be August 28th at 8 p.m. Students that are living on campus have a floor meeting, the UVA on Friday at 7 o'clock and the quad 7 o'clock on that Saturday, and thereafter should join us at Miyu at 8 o'clock. Cougar ? And campus tours. So many of you have probably have not had a chance to visit Cal State San Marcos nor your students. So we encourage you to stop by one of our tents. We'll be at each of the move-in locations, UVA and Quad, on Friday and Saturday, as well as in the main campus Sunday through next Thursday, offering campus tours and answering folks' questions to gain support. We can put that link in the chat as well. You can access the sign up for the campus tours via the CSUSM Weeks of Welcome webpage. It's at the very bottom, the link. We mentioned residential education and new student family programs in the Dean of Students office, as well as many other campus partners. But as you're transitioning and prepping for move-in, if you have questions or need support, don't hesitate to reach out and contact our respective areas. Sometimes when we are backed up in emails, contacting via phone is a really helpful way to get in touch with our respective areas and be able to get the answers that you need. You can always follow us on social media and stay in the loop, in contact with us as a university. And that's always a great way to stay connected and informed as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pause our recording, and we're going to open it up for questions in just a moment here. So as we open it up for questions, we're going to do so in a fairly organized manner.